Hey Gengar gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another episode of TCG ToolKit. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Pokemon TCG tins, how to invest in them, and how to spot fakes. So today's video is inspired by a recent purchase that I made in my last mail day episode, which you can check out right here in the eye as well as linked below down in the description. I bought a lot of tins, and I bought these tins off of Amazon specifically. Now, Amazon's an interesting place because there's a lot of weird things that go on. First things first, you can never really depend on the reviews because typically there's random parents on those reviews that will say, my child loved it. But there's a difference between your child loving a fake product because they're fooled that it's real and a vintage sealed collector who is looking for the absolute exact item that is featured in the description. So believe it or not, a lot of unfortunately nefarious sellers on Amazon can get away with selling some resealed or counterfeit product and get away with it because parents are nonetheless wiser about this stuff. So that is part of the reason why I personally don't advise doing that unless you're in a position to investigate the stuff, check in on the stuff, and make sure that the stuff is legit. Now, in today's video, we're specifically going to talk about two big things. One, why you should be investing in tins, and two, how to spot a fake one when it comes your way. So first things first, let's use a real tin to talk about why you should be investing in one. Tins are good for a variety of reasons. First things first, tins are stupid expensive nowadays. If you look up on eBay, EX era tins, there is a seller trying to sell one for $1,000. So without a doubt, EX era tins are a gold mine. If you found a case of them, you'd be pretty good. Now, the truth is that a lot of other tins are following suit. So these are 4th generation tins that contain Heart Gold and Soul Silver packs, and they are exploding in value as well. Recent auctions had them going for $200, and then the buy it now price on stuff like this is about $250. So although it's cheaper than the $1,000 tin, it's definitely a good investment, especially if you purchase them at the source. Now, of course, everybody knows this tin right here. It's a Hidden Fates tin, and I mean, we all love these things, but they're so rare that they're also going to be a commodity in the future, and I think a lot of people realize that, and part of the reason why you're not able to find them in stores probably because they're in a lot of cardboard boxes being hoarded away for the future. Now, with that said, I think we've established that tins are a pretty good investment. Here's the other reason, and part of my own personal thoughts as to why tins are a really good investment. For one, they don't bar you to a particular set. So for example, if you were to have invested in, EX Ruby and Sapphire versus investing in EX Deoxys, right? So let's say that you bought a case of booster boxes and you bought a whole bunch of blister packs and a whole bunch of sealed booster boxes. Now, the problem is that in the future, the price of collectibles is varied very much based on the set that it's from. So if you look right now, you'll see that Deoxys is so rare that you can't even get a proper fix on it, but my assumption is that it's going to sell somewhere north of $15,000 for a booster box versus EX Ruby and Sapphire, which is probably going to go for somewhere in the range of $6,000 to $7,000, although there is one listed for 10 grand on eBay, so that's nice. But you get my point. Depending on the set that you invest in, you might actually have missed out on a better investment opportunity. The good news with tins is that tins come with a variety of packs in them. So because of that, you don't necessarily miss out on any one set because the tin becomes its own cluster of packs. The other thing is that tins don't follow the particular art set of sets. So this would have come out right around the time of Heart Gold and Soul Silver and the 4th generation era of Pokemon cards. And although it has an Entei on it to match the Pokemon from those sets, it's not necessarily that this, works in the same way as like the artwork from. So it's another way to kind of diversify your different holdings and your different items in your collection because, these 3-dog sets don't necessarily follow that specific art set from that era. Finally, but not least, the other good thing with tins is that they're effectively cheaper than booster boxes. So let's think about it this way. If you were to go purchase a tin and a booster box today, a tin is only 20 bucks. A booster box is 100 boxes. So it takes 5 times the amount of money to purchase one booster box. And even if you're trying to invest, you might not have $100 to spend. So this is a really good way of investing a little bit of money and still opening yourself up to a big return on investment in the future. So potentially, this is a great way to start small and work your way bigger. The other thing that I can potentially argue about tins is that they're a great way to kind of protect yourself. So again, you might invest in a set that isn't as popular, but by investing in a couple of tins, not only is it more affordable because you can invest a smaller amount of money, but on top of that, because of the 4 packs that are in here, there's a chance that any one of these packs could become stupid valuable and drive the price of this tin up. And just as an example of that, look at any item that contains a EX Deoxys pack or a Team Rocket Returns pack. As long as it has that pack in it, it's valuable, and it's a lot more valuable than a similar item that might contain Power Keepers or might contain Legend Maker. So there's a variety of reasons why you want to invest in tins. Again, in short, there's tons of investment opportunity. They're cheaper, they're more effective, they rise in value the same way, probably at a better rate, and there's just a little bit more diversity here. So it's a good way to kind of make sure that you're hedging your bets. So that's why you should invest in tins. Now let's talk about fake tins. Like I said, tins are an interesting thing. They are relatively simple in nature, and that makes them very good for resealing and counterfeiting. Now, I'm going to put a booster box right here, and as you can see in this booster box that I'm clearly not holding, there's a variety of quote-unquote counterfeiting measures that are taken to prevent counterfeiters from being able to reseal a product. Now, for example, you can see that there's these weird Pokemon logos stamped onto the plastic, and that helps stop a counterfeiter, because in order to successfully reseal this box, you're going to need to replicate that, and only the Pokemon company is probably able of doing that properly, effectively, and in a way that mimics the original seal. The problem with tins is that even a totally legit one, which we know this one to be, has nothing like that. The only thing it has on it is this sticker, and this sticker with a little bit of heat could probably peel right off. So the problem with tins is that, as you can see right now, I'm peeling this one off, is that all you really need to do is shrink wrap a tin and then reapply the sticker, and all of a sudden you have the opportunity to reseal a tin if you were so nefarious and wanted to do so. The only booster box that's open to this type of vagrant manipulation is a first edition base set box, and that's because back then WotC was so new and Pokemon was so new that they didn't even think to put a logo on the plastic wrapping. I think TCA or PokeRev has a really good video where they show you a box that was resealed, and part of the reason that it was able to be resealed is because shrink wrapping is relatively easy to do as long as you have the right tools, and unfortunately those types of first edition base set booster boxes are perfect candidates because they don't have any other way to kind of check them. And as you can see right here, there's very little to no difference between these two tins. As you can see, they've both been quote-unquote factory sealed, and you can see the line right here. You can see, you know, it looks really good. And the worst part about tins is that on top of everything else, tins don't have anything special about them. You literally open it, take the packs out, put everything back in, and reseal it. So that's everything that can possibly go wrong. Now, I theorized that this 2013 tin isn't really real. Part of the reason for that, so you can see, and let me go ahead and get this focused up on you. So this is a 2013 tin, right? And you can see right there, right? This is awkward. Oh, well, I'm trying. I really am trying, guys. Aha. So you can see right there, it says 2013 on it. So the 2013 tin, I checked on YouTube with Primetime Pokemon, has 4 black and white packs in it. On top of that, it quite literally says right here, it contains 4 black and white series booster packs and a bonus code card. Okay, so now we know what the contents of this should be. Secondly, let's look at why I think this tin is fake. So first things first, something that I can't really articulate is the feel of the plastic wrap. This is just so much more loose in like a weird way. And just to kind of prove my point about that, let's look right here. So you can see this is a Hidden Fates tin, 2019. This is a, the Deoxys one. You can see a lot more play on this. That's kind of weird. And then, obviously the Hidden Fates is no play. Now, here's a tin from 2011, right? So this is a tin that I know to be real as well. And as you can see, even that much older, there's no play. Here, I can pull this thing all I want. Over here, it doesn't give. So obviously Pokemon Company plastic wrapping or shrink wrapping is a lot better. The other thing to note is that even back then, they put stickers on this stuff. So it's not that this stuff didn't have stickers on it, saying what was inside or saying, hey, here's a code card, something like that. So that is another real kind of indication that this tin might not be legit, is that there's no, stickers on it. What probably happened is they opened this up, they took everything out, and then they used a clean sheet of plastic for the shrink wrap. And that meant that they were so careless that they forgot to put the sticker back on, or, put something to make it look a little bit more legit. And obviously, since they were shrink wrapping, it didn't come out quite the same as the Pokemon seal, as you can see by comparison. So in quick summary, you can, two things to definitely look out for are the way the shrink wrapping is. Does it look more legit? Does it have this kind of weird kind of secondhand nature to it? Does it not feel similar to another tin? That's another good way of checking it out. And look for stickers. Back in the days, they still kind of put something on them, so if it sat on a store shelf, it would definitely have a do not backstock sticker or something like that. And then if it sat anywhere else, it might have had another thing that lists its contents, kind of like this one right here. So with that out of the way, the last thing I want to point out is the way that the shrink wrapping is. So here's a Hidden Fates tin, and you'll see that one side of the tin is totally clean, right? So basically what they do is they take the shrink wrapping and fold it like this, and then they shrink wrap starting here, and they seal it all the way around. So what you'll notice is that there are 3 sides that have shrink wrapping, and one that is basically where the plastic was still perfectly sealed. And that's how Pokemon Company shrink wraps their tins. In case you're curious, here's one from way back in 2011. And as you can see, there's one, the long side of the tin is where the plastic was placed, and then it was shrink wrapped starting at the top, around the other long side, and then around the corner. And that is a perfectly sealed Pokemon Company tin. Now let's look at the one that I got off of Amazon. It has the shrink wrapping up here. So as you can see, here's where there's no break. So they put it like this, and then they started shrink wrapping all the way around. And look how that shrink wrapping kind of varies throughout. So as you can see, the quote-unquote job they did was a little bit less good there. Now, of course, the only other thing we can do is open this tin up, and that's exactly what I plan on doing. So there is a small crease here, and I plan on opening it up. Again, this tin should contain 4 black and white era packs. If it contains anything other than that, the tin has been resealed. So as you can see, the plastic's right here. I've opened up a lot of Hidden Fates tins. This is not the plastic they use, it's cheaper. But I could be wrong. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. And I should say this, if it happens to be totally legit, totally fine, I will go ahead and crack these bad boys open at a later date. So here is a code card. I won't be giving that away, but let's see what the 4 packs are. I'm super interested. Interesting. So here is something really shocking. Yeah, I'm actually shook about this. So we got a black and white legendary treasures, a plasma blast, another legendary treasures, and a noble victories. So that is exceptionally strange, is what that is. Fascinating. And then let's take a look right here. So looks like I might have been very wrong about this, actually. But that is a interesting little turn of events. We do have 4 black and white era packs, so that's really interesting. The next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and yeet these guys open, and we will see what comes out of them. But that will be for a completely different video. Everything else looks good and checks out with this tin. I am actually pleasantly surprised. I was kind of expecting the worst, but it looks like this might have actually been a totally legitimate tin. The only other thing we could possibly try to do is crack these guys open and see what is inside of them. Again, the idea here is that they would contain 1 rare card each, and they shouldn't be weighed or manipulated in any real way, shape, or form. So that'll be the last thing that we can try to do. But I am also going to go ahead and check these guys out to make sure that they have not been resealed in any way. And shy of that, I think we might have actually gotten some legit tins with just really terrible shrink wrap. So, update guys, I went ahead and did a little bit of research, because although this is conveniently similar and technically doesn't, and technically it does make sense, I did want to do a little bit more research and figure out, you know, like why this seems to be so perfect, even though the plastic wrapping didn't match up. So here's the thing. The EX Deoxys, or rather the Deoxys EX tin that you're seeing right here, was originally released in September of 2013. So this is the fall tin, kind of like how the Hidden Fates tins were released in the fall, blah blah blah. They typically have a spring and they have a fall release. So here's the thing, these were the packs that we pulled out, which kinda made sense at first, right? Everything checks out, they're all black and white. Here's the problem. Legendary Treasures didn't come out until November 3rd of 2013. So these 2 packs would not have been possible to include in this tin, because this tin was released before these packs were made available to the public. The Plasma Blast makes sense. It should be included in the in the tin, and then this black and white Noble Victories was never included. So if you go and check any of the other YouTubers who opened up a legit tin, you'll actually see that the release was 2 Plasma Blast, 1 Plasma Storm, and 1 other plasma pack. So basically these 3 don't belong, and this one does. So that's interesting. So in another video, and make sure to check me out, we are going to go ahead and tear into these packs, and we're going to go ahead and see what is in them, because I am really curious now. But thanks again for checking out today's video, friends. I hope you learned something. If you have any horror stories, this doesn't seem to be a horror story, because assuming these packs aren't resealed, I'm still happy with this. I would never sell these though. I think I would buy them more so because I know I'm gonna get some pretty decent packs out of them, but I would never kind of like sell them again and be like, oh look, it's a sealed original tin, because these are definitely repackaged. But with that said, guys, let me know down below, do you have a horror story where you bought something, you thought it was, and then it was resealed, or it was manipulated, or possibly even fake? Let me know that down below. Thanks for checking out today's video, friends. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see these bad boys get cracked open, and find out if this was a horror story too. And yeah, thanks for checking out today's video. I hope you guys are well, and we'll talk to you real soon. Peace.